Here they are, that's your list. Now you don't need to wonder if I'm wasting your time, but let's go through them anyway. Timestamps are in the description. Let us start with Halo Campaign Evolved. Seems like we're in the age where creativity has completely died and we have to remake or re-release everything ever made, but at least this one is Halo. The question is, do we need to witness this skeleton of an FPS excavated from its dusty tomb and have the bones buffed out for the museum, of which there is a $50 entry fee? The answer depends on who you are. If you played Halo at launch back in 2001 for your Xbox and then jumped back in for old time's sake with the Anniversary Edition for Xbox 360 in 2011, and then when the Master Chief Collection dropped on PC in 2020, you're ready to get your shovel, kill this thing dead and bury Halo with the fossils. But if you've been a PlayStation ride or die all the way, you maybe never really got into this franchise, now's your chance to experience it for the first time, and I think it actually might not suck. But if you're going to go to the Steam store page before you can even read the blurb to find out what you're getting, they're going to hit you with pre-order FOMO. Pre-order any edition to get your polygonal retro skins to make you feel like a pixel again? Good. Show the premium edition to turn you into a pink crystal princess? Fine. Choose your edition to show us broke boys why it would be a mistake to buy the standard edition? Not so good. Give 5 days early access so long as you cough up an extra $20? Bad. Very bad. In fact, it's a piece of shit move. Free money for the publishers just by doing what? Nothing. They're being gatekeepers of when you can play a game. If you miss the release window because you're busting your balls trying to earn a living and you've got other commitments, the premium edition's value drops substantially. And apparently we've arrived at a time where digital game manuals are premium items. Take away the rest of the trash and what you're left with is just a bunch of skins in a first-person shooter. You can't even see them! Anyway, that aside, we're looking at a massive visual overhaul, 3 new missions, an extended range of weapons, vehicles, enemies, and the skulls mechanic. When you find these skulls in the game, you can choose to add modifiers later on once you're replaying those missions, and it's going to change the gameplay by switching up the challenge from randomizing weapons and enemies, which would be quite cool. I actually like the idea of having some longevity to returning to the campaign. It's solo or up to 4-player online co-op. The original Halo, by the way, had me howling with friends when we were trying to drive those finicky buggies. We were absolute trash at it, but co-op has always been the best way to get the most out of this game. Drops on Xbox, PC, and PS5 at the end of the month on July 28th. Next up, we've got the DLC for Doom: The Dark Ages, this time with Revelations. I know it's not exactly a game, it's really a DLC, and until very recently, I wouldn't even part with the £70 for the main game. In fact, I never will, but seeing how it was 67% off for £23, I jumped in, and boy, am I glad I did. Bethesda says that the expansion is going to give you new mysteries, new demons, deeper puzzles. I know, saying the words Doom and puzzles in the same sentence sounds like an almighty oxymoron, but they do lock a few things behind gates, or they show you something that you need to figure out how to get to, and it is pretty fun. Until sometimes you just realize that if you walked a bit closer to the objective, it will show you how to get there and you feel dumber than you were moments earlier. Anyway, there's also a new weapon coming called the Chain Spear, which will probably be the mainstay of how you navigate much of this expansion. The game director Hugo Martin apparently commented saying that Revelations will be ginormous, but they want £20 for this DLC, so they had better deliver or they're not getting my money until the next big sale. I really do sound like a tight-fisted miser, but there are 2 things to point out here. 1, I'm from Scotland, and 2, there's so many games on my pile of shame, I'm going to have to put them in my will for my son to finish. Shame he'll be expecting money and all he's going to be getting is a bunch of side quests. Black Ops 1 and 2 are due for another re-release, this time on PlayStation this month. And yes, I said re-release, not a remaster, not even a remake. It is as if Todd Howard's infinite Skyrim glitch has infected the entire industry. Pricing, it could be $40 for the pair, it could be $40 each, as nothing would surprise me at this point. But at the time of recording this video, they are both in the Steam sale, and however much they try and scam you out of, I will say this, these are the last great COD campaigns where you could justifiably just buy them for the single player mode alone and have one of the most memorable experiences in the entire franchise, unlike the current Black Ops, which I would say is best described as utter dog shit and a disgrace to the legacy of Call of Duty. I made a video about the first Black Ops, so I'm not going to talk about that one too much here, but Mason and the Numbers is a great reason to jump back in, as are the zombie modes. Black Ops 2 was another banger with a great twist of being able to choose how the story ends. Only reason that these 2 games have made the list is because I just want to stretch this video out long enough to include a mid-roll ad. Now we come to Assassin's Creed Black Black Flag Resynced, where one of the best games of the franchise has been rebuilt from the ground up, resetting the timeline where quadruple A games such as Skull and Bones no longer quench the thirst for the pirate life. And while I am experiencing remake fatigue, this is one of the few games that does have my attention. But this isn't just prettier water textures or golden sand upgrades so that you can really feel the grit wedged into your eyeballs. Ubisoft says Resynced has new story arcs and missions, including expanded materials for characters like Blackbeard, new officers that you can recruit to the Jackdaw, upgraded stealth if you can believe that, improved parkour, reworked combat built around parries and chained takedowns, and actually these look pretty cool, and spitting in the face of Starfield by removing loading screens when entering major cities. If you want to be a tourist and you're comfortable not owning your games, just do a flyby on Ubisoft Plus for a month and play the hell out of this game because it'll be much cheaper. But at least they are not throwing early access into the premium edition. Otherwise, the pricing is slightly shaved off the current AAA benchmark, with the standard coming in at $60 or 50 quid. And Deluxe is going to be $70 and £60. Drops on July the 9th for PS5, Xbox, and PC. Then we have Mistfall Hunter as a third-person PvPvE extraction ARPG blending bleak dark fantasy aesthetics with intense, visceral action. Well, that's what it says on the Steam page. What it doesn't say is that you'll be running around, most likely trying to open a chest with a percentage bar that might not even fill up because you're going to take an axe to the back of the skull. Now, the gods have fallen and the Gildan Mist is consuming the world, and what is Gildan Mist, you may ask? In the never-ending story, it's the nothing. In Apex Legends, it's the ring. In Fortnite, who cares? But here, the fog of death, that is known as the Gildan Mist. You get revived by a girl who shares the name of the morning globule moisture that rests on blades of grass, dew, but are soon thrown into a dark world where you have to smash all kinds of monsters. You take their Gildan blood and fix the multiverse before Marvel ever gets their filthy hands on it. Okay. Well, that might not be the exact plot, but it's more or less, okay? Combat, it looks fun, and I'm going to be keeping my eye on this one for sure, especially when you see how warriors look like absolute juggernauts with their two-handed hammer, but don't worry, speed occasionally does beat brute strength. What does worry me though is the potential for an obnoxious amount of CC where you can be frozen by Sub-Zero the Wizard and Sub-Zero the Archer, but mouse and keyboard players rejoice. The devs have said this is a free aim system, which hopefully means auto-aim can kiss my arse, but at least if you hit a weak spot, it has to be pure skill, or in my case, a happy accident. There's some customization which is apparently to allow us to confront the conflict to come in a more fitting manner. And what can be said other than this outfit would be great for conflict resolution? The game boasts 6 classes and explicitly states that there's going to be no pay to win. It also doesn't have a price at the time of recording this, so I guess we'll see what they come up with. Launches around July 29th on PC, PS5, and Xbox, with Xbox Game Pass Day 1 access. Finally, we have the Mound, Omen of Cthulhu, of which there's a demo available on Steam. This first-person treasure hunting horror adventure for up to 4-player co-op grabbed my attention because you sign a contract aboard a galleon, and while it seems like it might be a cool pirate adventure, couldn't be further from the truth as you wander through a jungle that comes to life in more ways than one, revealing not just the horrors of the dead, but your senses become affected as well, bending your mind itself. Now, there's a wagon that follows you around somewhat, and it's just as well because on my first mission, I loaded up with every weapon under the sun, only to realize that these are slots on the right-hand side are to accommodate any treasures that you find. Something that is both cool and terrifying is that the further you venture into the jungle, the more dangerous it becomes, and also the horrors within your mind begin to grow, making you doubt whether or not any of this treasure hunting malarkey is even worth it. I think multiplayer is going to be the way to go here. I played it solo, and all I got from my troubles was my bot ally shooting me in the back before getting stuck somewhere. It took me ages to find him. Some of the mobs are terrifying. Others just jump on you and explode, which makes you really want to have someone else around to take the aggro while you either shoot the thing or just let your teammate die. Overall, the game, it feels quite fun on first impressions. I would say there's quite a bit of free content that the devs have unlocked in the demo. You can really test drive this thing before it comes out. I do have a few gripes though. Sprint speed is so slow, it is as if your character is balancing a cup of sulfuric acid on his head. Also, if you do get this, just turn down camera smoothing, because if you don't, this game will run like a piece of shit with mouse and keyboard. Motion blur, it's a bit trickier. I find it a bit jarring when it's completely off, but that'll be up to you. There's a nice milestone that the devs added where they're going to discount the game on launch depending how many people wishlist it. Very good for community trust alongside a lengthy demo. Comes out on PS5, Xbox and PC on July 15th. And that's all I got for you today, but if you want to check out some other games that don't suck, there should be a couple of videos floating on the screen somewhere. Take it easy, catch you in the next one. Later!